If you think there's an equal opposing force that can throw it down with the Lord, you don't understand the scriptures. Satan is in service to God, right? We've gone over that a bunch of times. You read Job 1, you'll understand that, right? Go ahead, read.
For the Lord hath created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man.
This is feminism. That's feminism in the scripture. That's the changing of what we just read in 1 Corinthians 11:3. Why? Because the woman is the weaker vessel. It's the same reason Satan went to her. It's the same reason Satan still go to her, right? I know. I couldn't even bring myself to watch that because I said, damn, it looks like propaganda, right? The action and everything looked good, but I don't know. Maybe somebody saw it and it's not what I think it is, but okay. All right. Okay. Put the umbrella picture up again. Put the umbrella picture. The woman king. That's like saying the woman God. Right. Bible, we just went through that. Sisters, it's different. You were made different. Brothers, you should understand now the weaker vessel. All right? You should. It's not just, oh, spirits come through and stuff, right? She was made different. It's different. It's a different type of flesh. All right? She was made different. You got what we read in Jeremiah is what you see here, the wrong order of Satan. And that's what they would have you believe. Satan, why Jesus? Because that's the main tool that pushes that agenda. And you got woman and man. All right? Now, let me get the article about the differences between men and women. I thought this was interesting, that even science understands that there's differences. It's like 25 things different between men and women. It's one of the very first links I posted. Y'all did get it, right? Okay. I kept it brief. There's a lot more, but they call it fun facts about what makes men and women different. They're not going into what I just went through biblically. I laid the biblical foundation for you, but look at how they even understand how different we are. All right? Go ahead. Come on. Let's read.
Men aren't from Mars. Women aren't from Venus. They're the same species from the same planet.
Right. We are one flesh, right? But there's an order in how it was done. Come on.
But the sexes certainly aren't the exact same.
They certainly are not. All right? Academics, scientists understand this. Come on.
The differences between men and women are real and important.
And important. And important. I've gone over this on the show where I break down the necessity of the feminine to go with the masculine. All right? You need those two together when you're in that type of bond together. And when a woman starts to move into the masculine frame, disorder happens in the marriage. Just like a man being effeminate moves into the feminine frame, disorder in the marriage. So the scripture teaches us only by pride cometh contention. All right? I'm going to tell you mine to add on to that. If you got some issues in your marriage, one of you is not in your frame. And understanding the weaker vessel, because I've seen cases where the man is out of order. By and large, the woman is moving in the masculine frame when there's issues like that. By and large. We've told you, we've brought stuff to light. Yes, men are culpable, men are guilty, men have done things. We see it. Classes have come out showing you how you have the verbal abuse, financial abuse, emotionally abusive, whatever, right? But when you move out of your feminine frame into a masculine frame, that creates disorder in the marriage. Right, you can put that up. Some brothers living with that. Some brothers rolling like that. Look at that. Look. I'm going to say that's the little daughter, too, because the little daughter could come and try to manipulate, too, right? That might not even be the wife right there, unless she a midget. Damn! he said, Ash said, why are you looking at him for? All right. Let's go back to the article. All right. Come on. Keep reading.
They serve biological functions and can even help you better understand your health needs. These differences give each sex unique strengths that help with the most important task, survival. But let's talk similarities before jumping into what makes men and women different.
Come on.
Here's two you might not know. Genetically, men and women's DNA is 98.5% identical.
And that makes sense based on what we brought out in the scriptures, no? Yeah. She came from man. But it's only 98.5% identical. That little bit, That little bit is profound based on what we just read in the Bible. Come on.
They even have the same hormones, but the ratios of those hormones explain some of the differences between men and women. Now it's time to dive into 25 fun facts. Discover the important physiological, biological, and nutritional differences between men and women.
All right, let's read through them. Come on.
Men typically have thicker skin by about 25%.
And figuratively, too, usually. But I have seen some yellow make me sad brothers quite a bit in my life. All right? So you know how they talk about thick skin? But quite literally, men have thicker skin. Come on.
They also have higher densities of the protein collagen. Number 2, the differences in density goes beyond skin deep. Usually, men also have denser, stronger bones, tendons, and ligaments than women.
We different, all right? Come on.
Number 3, from about age 14 to 51, women typically need more iron than men. This is due to their loss of blood during menstruation.
They bleed 7 days and don't die. Come on.
Which typically happens in a cycle of 28 to 40 days.
That's a big difference. You know, if I bled for 7 days, I'd be dead. But go ahead. Go ahead. Come on.
Number 4, on average, men typically have more muscle mass than women. And those skeletal muscles are faster and more powerful. But women's muscles more readily resist fatigue and are faster to recover.
So, sisters, understanding this part, leave us alone when the cold has us jacked up, all right?
Right.
When my tummy ache got me bedridden,
Right.
okay?
Right.
They be like, what's the joke? Like a man having a cold understands what it's like for a woman to have childbirth, right? Because that's the way they think it's exaggerative, but y'all was made different in that, right? That's why you should still be able to tend to the house when you're sick. Go ahead. Y'all resist fatigue and you recover faster. So when we hurting because we sick, it's real, sisters. All right, go ahead, come on.
Number 5, the second longest finger for most women is next to their
Some
thumb.
of these seem trivial, but I'm just telling you that they just were able to pull 25. We're different. They even know we're different. They don't understand the spiritual context the way we just read in the scriptures, but we're different. Go ahead, come on. People are going to start checking their fingers
looking
now.
at their hands,
Go ahead, come on.
But men are the opposite. They usually have ring fingers, those next to their pinky finger, that are longer than their index fingers. Number 6, folate is an essential vitamin. So, men and women both need it, but it's especially crucial for women of childbearing age. If they become pregnant, women need enough folate to support the neural development of their babies. Number 7, there are differences in the way male and female brains are structured.
Oh, so even our brain matter is different. And they'll tell you that's a result of evolution and the Big Bang, but it's the way God made us. All right? Go ahead. Come on. There are differences.
How they process information and interact with chemical signals. For some examples, men have more information containing gray matter, but women have more white matter, which connects different parts of the brain. Also, women have bigger memory sensors than men.
That's why they'll never forget any damn thing you did to them, bro. Bro, it'll be the most random thing. Like, do you remember 25 years ago? It was a rainy, stormy night. You came home late. And I was tired, and my finger was cut, and I was bleeding, and all you could talk about was, where was my dinner?
Stop it.
Right? And I'd be like, yeah,
Get some help.
Bro, that's how they remember that, right? Go ahead, come on.
Number 8, a woman's circadian rhythm is more likely to be short of a 24-hour period. They're often 6 minutes short of a full day. Men are more likely to be night owls, but women function better during periods of sleep deprivation.
Right. This is why you can deal with the baby when they wake up. And we have to sleep, okay?
That's right.
Okay, go ahead, come on.
During
God made you that your rhythm was a little short of a full day so that you can deal with that, right? Go ahead, come on.
During exercise, women's primary fuel is fat. For men, it's carbohydrates.
Right. That's why we have beer bellies. Come on.
Number 10, an average adult female has about 15 to 70 nanograms per deciliter of testosterone. An average adult male has about 270 to 1,070. Every year after age 30, men's testosterone levels drop about 1%.
Right. That's why you get more emotional. You start crying. Go ahead. Come on.
That doesn't happen for women, but women do see their estrogen levels fall off after menopause.
Come on, keep reading.
Number 11, men have pronounced Adam's apples. That's because they have larger voice boxes that make the surrounding cartilage stick out more.
So I'm not talking loud. I'm not shouting at you, sisters. I'm made different. So my voice speaks with elevation and more pronounced, all right? Go ahead, come on.
Number 12, both sexes hit peak bone mass around age 30. At 40, men and women start losing bone. Menopause accelerates bone loss in women. So women 51 to 70 need 200 milligrams of calcium more than men the same age. That's 1,200 milligrams per day for women and 1,000 milligrams per day for men. Number 13, the daily calorie requirement for men is higher than women. There are a few reasons for this: higher muscle mass, stature, and basal metabolic rate. Pound for pound, muscle burn more than double the calories fat does.
Come on, keep going. Read a little faster. We'll get through them.
Number 14, men and women carry different amounts of body fat. The higher body fat in women, about 10%, mostly supports reproductive physiology. One example is when a woman's body fat gets too low, she stops menstruating. Number 15, women typically carry their body fat in their hips and thighs. Fat tends to deposit around men's stomachs. Number 16, the difference between men and women's size, muscle mass, and calorie needs means men typically require diets higher in protein.
That's why daddy gets the big piece of meat.
Roy.
All right, go ahead, come on.
Number 17, one study found that men have lower resting heart rates than women, but women have lower peak heart rates. Men's heart rates typically rise faster during exercise and slow quicker afterward. Number 18, men normally have more red blood cells.
You don't got to read how many. Nobody knows what that is anyway, but go ahead, come on.
Number 19, women typically have lower blood pressure than men, regardless of race or ethnicity.
So it's not a competition, all right, Jahida? When your blood pressure is lower than mine. Go ahead, come on.
Number 20, for most of life, men and women have the same vitamin D requirements, but older women need to up their intake of vitamin D. That's because it promotes better calcium absorption. Number 21, men are less likely to seek regular medical checkups, and when they go to the doctor, they're more likely to hide or lie about their symptoms. 22, zinc needs are generally similar for men and women, but pregnant and postmenopausal women require more zinc. Both sexes store zinc in bones, but men also store the essential mineral in their prostate. 23, men are less sensitive to cold temperatures. 24, women have better senses of smell and taste. They have 50 more cells, neurons, in their olfactory bulbs, the part of the brain responsible for processing smells. Women also usually have more taste buds than men. 25, the differences in the way men and women see the world is partly physical. On average, men are more likely to be colorblind, but their eyes also sense movement better.
Because we hunters. Come on. Go ahead.
Women are able to distinguish small differences in color better.
Right. So, some of it, it does seem like fun facts, but as I was reading them, I was like, man, there's like, if you think about it, there's things that you could look at. For the sake of time, I didn't set it up, but I was like, man, I could go into like Proverbs 31 and see this is why the woman was made this way to do this. Right. That's why I said she rises early, her circadian rhythm, right? She might not need as much sleep as us and all of that stuff. Most High made it that way. He designed us. Now, we're going to spend a little time doing some articles and stuff before we go back to the scriptures for a little bit. Put up the first Instagram video with Graybeard, all right? So, we dealt with the weaker vessel. You must understand how you were made different and everything. Now let's look at some of the impacts that has, all right? Lord's will, I'm going to be able to jump back to my scriptures and get through all of them. I'm going to try to get through some of this quickly, all right? Let's listen to, if you watch the show, you know I've used this guy quite a bit. I like a lot of what he has to say in regards to relationships and women. One of the things about being weaker, sisters, is that the man imprints on you. Every man that you've allowed to have inside you, you have DNA of him inside you, and he's going to bring it out. It's so severe in some cases that you can even transfer certain diseases and conditions to your offspring with the husband that you have from the other men that you lie down with. It's so severe that they found women who have lived a very high promiscuous life and have that male DNA inside of them are more prone to Alzheimer's, dementia, and autoinflammatory diseases like lupus. You know, they say they don't know where lupus came from. It never existed. Well, when everybody started outside of marriage, free love and all this stuff, all of a sudden you got a rise in this stuff. You wonder why autism is on the rise, and you're pointing to, and I'm not saying it is or isn't, I'm just throwing things out there. Vaccines, and because maybe there's virgins and they have an autistic child, but maybe you weren't and you have an autistic child. All right. Again, there's so much that and we won't know if they don't study it, but the scriptures tells us that's why things are set up the way they are. That's why you're the weaker vessel. You're designed different. Men imprint on you. So we've been joking for years, talking about, you know, Tay-Tay and Carlos coming out when something going on. They're saying that, meaning you can go, and if a woman was highly promiscuous, have a child with her, and he might have characteristics of previous men that she's been with. Not in appearance, but in spirit and in other things. And I know there's some I'm talking about there's some sisters that they know they've been out there, and they mad right now. Those will, when I get to the scriptures, you let God work with you so that you can fix yourself, all right? Go ahead, come on.
Have been studied, guess what? Male DNA is still found. Microchimerism is real, and women do retain the DNA of all the men they have slept with if the man didn't pull out or use a condom. That
Stop. He said of all the men you've slept with. So even if you're proud of your number because it's not that high, you retain the DNA of all the men that you've slept with. All right? Go ahead, come on.
Good to women, since most women have been promiscuous somewhere in their life. And it doesn't feel good to the men that wind up having children with them, since they don't want to face the fact that their kids actually possess traits from her previous sexual partners. That's called telegony. It's real. More on that tomorrow.
All right. Show me his next video before we get to the articles. He the manosphere too, bro. Yeah. I'll go into this much more when we do the show, like just this. But I'm just touching on it now. Go ahead, come on.
When a woman has sex with a man and leaves behind a DNA sample, that DNA hangs around for a long, long time. Microchimerism is basically the cells of one person in another person. Telegony is when the characteristics of a previous sexual partner show up in a woman's offspring that she's conceived with a new partner.
Stop. You heard that? Those characteristics will show up on a baby that you have with your husband. Go ahead, come on.
I'm surprised that these topics are radioactive in academic circles. And most people online try to frame these things as theoretical, but that's simply not true. Telegony in particular has been clearly observed in animal husbandry for centuries.
Stop. So they find it in animals, but somehow they're saying it don't happen in us. And it's an agenda, because then it has to change the whole dynamic of chastity, right? Then you shouldn't be out there so free. There's consequences to this stuff. Go ahead, come on.
Attempts at explaining it away by dominant and recessive alleles simply doesn't hold water. Reading the recent research, after the previous male sperm entry into the female reproductive system, those sperm which do not participate in fertilization penetrate into the somatic cells of the uterus and store their genetic, epigenetic information there.
Stop. It says that first of all, we different. That's how powerful the man's brothers. That's royal holy seed. That's how powerful that thing is, all right? That even if she doesn't get impregnated, the sperm is encoding itself in her somatic cells in her uterus, and they stay there. They found cases, I don't know if he's going to mention it in this one, 27 years later, it's still there. 27. How they do it, I don't know. It's the devil, the way they come up with this stuff in science and, you know, split this stuff together. But they got the information, all right? Go ahead, come on.
Conceives with a new partner, his DNA exchanges information with her DNA, which also contains the DNA of dozens of other men. This means a man having children with the average woman today, his kids will have traits from the men that she's previously had sex with. For women, it's a matter of long-term health issues, particularly with autoimmune issues and a correlation with higher rates of Alzheimer's disease. And besides, it's just nasty.
Well, he's right about that. He's right. All right, let's go through the articles that I got in order, all right? In order. Oh, yeah, you could have put that up. I thought some of these comments were hilarious, all right? Y'all love The Notebook. Oh, The Notebook. Read that. Read it. Sister love that movie, right? Yeah, you know you watched it with your wife. You were like, oh, my baby. Go ahead, come on.
Teen Show Marvick. That explains the end of The Notebook. The girl had been passed around the whole town and ended up with Alzheimer's disease. Chicks, he said deceased. Chicks love movies about infidelity.
Hey, but he ain't wrong. His spelling's jacked up. He spelled like you, Tobias. But chicks love movies about infidelity.
Right.
Don't they love the movies?
Yeah.
And how they could go and screw around, and then like the one that was in the friend zone, and then she realizes, oh my God, I'm tired of all this D, and now I want to go back to the one that's been waiting, pining on me all this time, right? Right? Yo, look at what he said at the bottom. Don't read, you don't have to read the names of the good.
All that semen ate her brain.
Yo. Bro, it encoded in her somatic cells. And she had Alzheimer's at the end of the movie, right? After being running around and all that other stuff. Check the reality. I'm telling you, this is a safe space. Brothers, a sister here that's trying to work on herself, like sincerely working on herself, it's way better than anything you're going to find out there, right? Some of you trying to find women out there and bring them in here. It never works. You try to find them out there and bring them in here. Look at what brothers are dealing with dating out there. Go ahead.
I was on a second date yesterday with a pleasant lady.
Oh, she was pleasant enough, right? They all pleasant enough, all right? Come on.
Who proceeded to tell me she had 2 threesomes so far, and now she's looking to settle down.
Hey, and I'm going to take that as man, woman threesomes, all right? Because some of you might be like, oh, well, there's another woman, not so bad, right? Lewd ass. Listen, she had 2 threesomes, and that's what she's telling him. Remember, what they tell you, that's just like the covering, like the decorative, you know, you're looking at